Hey y'all, it's Zoe and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today is the last video for National Adoptee Awareness Month, which is crazy to me how fast the month went by. It also means that the year is almost over, which is also kind of crazy to me. Also, I have sleeping Hazel next to me. But for my last video, I wanted to do a little Q&A, ask me anything. I've done these on all the odd years, so I kind of just wanted to keep up with that. So I asked questions on my Instagram story and I'm going to be answering them. And if you ever want to ask me questions in the future, you can follow me on Instagram. All of my social medias are tagged down below. So let's get into this video. Alright, so this first question actually was asked by my college's old presidents. Like, we had a president, and then I think junior or senior year we got an interim president, and now we have a new president, but she started after graduating. So this is like the president that started when I was a freshman in college, which is kind of cool that she ended up asking me a question. So her question was, do you feel there are incorrect assumptions people make about you related to adoption? Honestly, that is such a good question. I'm trying to think of how to answer it. So I feel like some assumptions people make about us is that we are angry at our birth parents. I, for one, am not angry at my birth parents. I don't know. I mean, I think I would love to actually meet them and learn more about their story and kind of their decision, but I am not angry at them for what they did. I think they did what they thought was best at the time given the circumstances. Another assumption I feel like maybe is that I want to find my birth parents, which isn't exactly true. At least it's not true all the time. I went through a phase where I didn't want to find them at all, and then I went through a phase where I did want to find them. Some other assumptions people make is that me and my sister are biologically related. My sister and I are not biologically related, so I feel like we get that a lot. And yeah, I feel like those are probably some of the top ones that I can think of, but that was a really good question. What does being adopted mean to you? Honestly, it's just part of my identity and it's part of who I am, and I enjoy talking about it, even if it can get tiring sometimes, like I mentioned in my last video, but it's just who I am and I own it. Sometimes you go through phases where you take pride in it and then you kind of wish that you didn't, and then you're kind of back to taking pride in it. So just kind of always knowing that it's something about me that I can't change, and how can I then move forward with that? How has your identity changed over time? Oh, great. It's a great segue. That's it. I mean, honestly, I've always been very open about my adoption, but I do feel like as I've gotten older, I've kind of grown into that adoptee identity more. I think when I was younger, I knew about it, I would talk about it, but it wasn't until I got older, an adult, that I started connecting all the dots per se. So how do you navigate difficult questions? I think it would depend on the question. If I feel comfortable answering it, I would answer it. If I don't, I would say hey, I don't feel comfortable answering that. Sometimes I might put a pin in it. Sometimes I might research it. Sometimes I might talk to friends about it. So I think it really just depends on who the person is and what the question is. Do you feel more connected to your adoptive or birth culture? That's really hard because I feel kind of in between both, but I would say probably more so my birth culture because of my Chinese heritage, and my adoptive culture is American. And I feel like when you describe American culture, there's only a couple of words that can come to mind, right? We have the American holidays like Thanksgiving, and then we have all the American culture things like coffee shops and TikTok and all that. But I do feel very connected to my birth culture of learning my language, loving the food, being able to travel, being able to visit, celebrating the holidays. So I do feel very connected to my birth culture. What do you wish people understood about adoptees? I think the big thing is that we're all different. I kind of think of us like snowflakes. You're not going to find two adoptees that are yes, we have this one thing in common, and yes, maybe our stories might sound similar, but all of us go through different stages and different phases, and we take our adoption in different ways. Even if two people are really in tune with their adoptee identity, they're still going to have completely different stories and experiences, and everyone's going to get to the same place in different ways and at different times. There might be people my age who either don't know they're adopted, don't want to accept the fact that they're adopted, don't like to talk about being adopted, but that doesn't mean that they're not important. Everyone has their own journeys and takes it at their own pace, and it's important to remember that, and also to be able to be aware of that when you're interacting with adoptees. Don't don't just automatically assume they're going to want to talk about it. Ask them first, and maybe they'll open up to you and maybe they won't, but don't pressure them. Never pressure an adoptee to open up and tell you their story, because it's their story, right? Like it's kind of if someone were to like take a story that's yours and tell it to someone else, right? Like it's their story, let them tell it, and don't be the one to tell other people that person's story. What's something you would tell your younger self? Just like be proud of who you are, be proud of your heritage, be proud of your background, and things can be kind of difficult at times, but you're who you are and you should be proud of that. And also, you do a lot of cool stuff when you become an adult. And like, honestly, just enjoy time as a kid. And honestly, enjoy time in your 20s too. I'm in my 20s now, and sometimes it feels like I need to have everything figured out, and there's so much pressure on me to like know what I want to do, know where I'm going. But like, also just enjoy it. Like my early 20s, when I was in college, when I was in Taiwan, like those are some great times. And your 20s, like, just have fun. Yes, you're exploring, and yes, you're figuring out, but enjoy it while you can. How have you navigated loss and grief? I've done a lot of therapy, not like a lot of therapy, but I've done like a decent amount of therapy, and talking about it with friends, with family, with this YouTube channel, writing it down, journaling. All of those ways are ways that I have dealt with loss and grief, especially when I lost my grandfather. That was like really hard for me. Also knowing that I'm going to probably experience more loss and grief, and also that like loss and grief is like a spectrum, right? Like there's like physical loss, like loss of my birth parents, loss of my grandparents, but then there's also just like that more kind of intermediary loss, like, oh, all my friends have graduated and we're going different places, and like grieving friendships, grieving relationships. So definitely a lot of like journaling, talking it out, and sitting with those thoughts and not letting it kind of consume me in a way, like knowing that those thoughts are normal and valid and processing them in a healthy way. Therapy ? Not sure what this question means, but if it means is it good or should you go, then yes, I always recommend going to therapy. I think one thing that people don't know about therapy is that it's not really there to solve your problems. As someone who's gone to therapy and wanted my problems to be solved, now being on the other end, I realize that is not what therapy is for. Therapy is for to help you get to where you need to be to solve your own problems, right? Encouraging you, motivating you, being able to process through things, and letting you figure out where to go next, right? It's all about empowerment and empowering the individual to be able to do the things, to be independent. So I'm always an advocate for therapy. It's a great way to process what you're going through, and just like having someone to talk to about it, even if you're not going to solve everything right away. And therapy is also like a long-term journey. You can't just expect things to be fixed in like a month or 2 weeks or even 6 months. Some people are in therapy for years. So give yourself grace and patience, and give yourself the time that you need to work through what you need to work through. Okay, and then the last question is, how has being adopted influenced your relationships? I mean, I kind of did like an adoption and dating Q&A video a while ago. I don't remember exactly what I said for that, but honestly, like when it comes to romantic relationships, I am always like really open about it. I like talking about it with the person that I'm with, and kind of just like opening up to them about how I feel, how being adopted has like shaped who I am and like shaped how I experience things. And when it comes to friendships, I think it's a lot of my abandonment issues that I have to work through with friends, of like, if they don't stay, it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It doesn't mean they're like abandoning you, right? Like navigating that. So it's been really tough for me, but I've definitely like grown a lot since like the very beginning, or like early adult stages. I feel like when I was 18, I had a really hard time with that, but now that I'm a little bit older, like it's a little easier for me to just kind of accept that. So I think definitely it kind of triggers my abandonment issues a lot. So it's a lot of just telling myself that, you know, they're not abandoning me necessarily, right? Sometimes friendships just don't work out. Sometimes relationships don't work out, but that doesn't mean that that person doesn't like you or doesn't care for you. It just means that it wasn't meant to be. And sometimes they come back. Like sometimes your childhood friends come back, or sometimes like old relationships come back, but sometimes they don't, and that's just how it is. So it can be a little complicated. Also, when you're dating someone who's like not adopted, kind of having to explain that and like go through all the things can be a lot. You can set a boundary with your friends, with your romantic partners, like on your adoption, what you talk about, how much you share, how much you're willing to share. And like, I think it depends on who you're with and how long you've known that person, right? And I don't know what it's like to date someone who is adopted. I think that'd be really interesting to kind of see what that's like. Only my experience has been with people who aren't adopted, but that's kind of been my experience in that. So I hope all of these questions were helpful. Let me know if anyone else has any thoughts in the comments down below. I'll be doing another Q&A in 2 years from now, or maybe I'll do one next year, who knows. But if you have any more questions for me, feel free to ask them in the comment section and I might reply to some and answer them. But otherwise, I will see you all in the next video, which I'm gonna try to crank out 2 more videos before Vlogmas, and then you'll pretty much be seeing my face and hearing my voice for the next month. So feel free to tune back into Vlogmas, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! Say bye, Hazel. Okay, bye!